Welcome to the Grassman Chronicles. Please join me in welcoming a very special guest host for this episode, the lovely and talented Bree.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm glad to step into Trees' shoes while he's doing his thing. And what an exciting episode to be able to participate in too, because I love of all the things that you've mentioned here. I haven't ever talked about Selkies before, and I love them. So yay!
Great. And for those of you that don't know, you can find Bree at HiveSci. And if you aren't already subscribed to her channel, you can remedy that because her link is in the description. Here at the Captive Desk, we explore all kinds of otherworldly claims and invite you to explore with us. And since today is my birthday, I thought we would explore Scotland's history of its many beastie claims, as my father's father, who's on the screen, that's my grandfather, was an immigrant from Scotland when he was a little boy. He told the story of waving his little American flag and when he was newly here from the old homeland. So it warms my heart to talk about Scotland too. To celebrate this special episode with the audience, we're also going to be giving away a free, one-of-a-kind, that only Trees and I have, Grassman t-shirt. You could join the exclusive club, but you got to hang around because we're going to tell you how to enter after our second story. So don't go anywhere, and we'll give you the details.
Stick around.
Now, Trees was unavailable to join us this evening. He had some things to take care of. No worries. I just spoke to him, and he should be back with us at the Grassman Chronicles soon. And I'm sure he is with us in spirit. And speaking of spirits, that takes us to our first story. For the first episode, or for first story in this episode, is St. Andrew's Church. While St. Andrews is best known for its golf courses and its university, St. Andrew's Church has a much darker side with a long and dark history and rumors of numerous ghosts inhabiting the grounds. Long before it was a cemetery, the St. Andrew's Cathedral stood majestically as Scotland's largest church. Built in 1158, the cathedral was abandoned during the 16th century Scottish Reformation, and eventually it fell to ruin. This picture is a reconstruction of what it would have looked like in its day.
So is that the bell tower that's still standing?
The tower is still standing, yep. And let's see. That would be, I guess that would be the same one there.
The center bell tower.
Yep, it has. Yep. Yeah. So that's what it looked like in its day. And today, that's about all that's left.
Now, a lot of the stones from this cathedral are used in local architecture too. So you go around and look at some of the older buildings in the city and in the township. Some of them are made from stones from this cathedral. When they kicked the Catholic Church out of Scotland, they weren't like, oh yeah, let's preserve their monuments. No, they're like, let's use this stuff to.
That was a lot of stone.
Yeah.
To that. That's just the bare outline is all.
It was only in like the 1820s, I think, that they decided to say, hey, you know what? Let's preserve what's left of this as a monument to the Reformation. I guess that it was the idea. But it's beautiful architecture. I wish that more of it remained that we could see. But apparently, it's got a little bit of a spooky history too, though. That there's some hauntings and watchers and whatnot in this.
Well, we've got a couple of good ones we're
Yeah,
going to. Yeah.
yeah.
First, the Pens at St. Andrews was a gate across the street, and this would be the view you would get from across the street. And it was once the main entrance into the monastery, and then you would go into the cathedral area through this arch here. And one of the many sad tales about St. Andrews is that the pilgrims, mostly plague victims, who sought out the cathedral for help, were often turned away and left to die alone in the streets of St. Andrews. As you stroll along Nun's Walk, it's likely you'll feel the sensation of being watched. The veiled nun is believed to be the ghost of a woman who lost the love of her life. No one's sure why, but some say she was rejected and chose to slice up her beautiful face out of anger and heartbreak. After her
Eeh.
self-isolation, died of her injuries shortly after becoming a nun and committing herself to God. As she approaches her victims, she removes her black veil, revealing her horribly disfigured face in an attempt to scare them. The unnamed veiled nun is definitely one of the more terrifying of the St. Andrews ghosts.
Yeah, sounds like it.
But if that's not bad enough, you've got the tale of the white angel statue. And this is the picture here that keeps a watchful eye over the eastern cemetery. The statue, which sits against a wall atop the hill, is said to fly around in search of victims to strangle the life out of them. Not a very nice statue. I guess
That's rude.
that's how it keeps watch of the place, though. So beware at night. I guess you don't want to go there in the evenings, I would say.
So it's a sinister angel, which is counterintuitive, but whatever works for defending your boneyards, right?
Well, it didn't have a lot of details, but I guess somehow that statue does come to life and takes flight. So,
Mm-mm. Yeah, getting
and then we
strangled by
get
statue hands would be kind of terrifying, right? Like stone wrapped around your neck. Ah.
that would be a stone grip for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of the tower that's still standing, as you were mentioning, the haunted tower at St. Andrew's Cathedral is home to several ghosts. One being the White Lady, the spirit of a woman said to have died from a broken heart. The White Lady is often seen roaming the passageways of the tower in a long white dress and is regarded as being amongst the most well-known of St. Andrew's Cathedral's ghosts. Reports of the White Lady sightings go back as far as the 1800s, when she was often said to scare passerbys with her luminous body. Another spirit said to be roaming the tower is that of a monk named Robert. Although regarded as a good guy, he did have to discipline a few of the other monks. One of them, not taking it too well, tossed Robert off the tower to his death. His spirit is said to help guide people inside the tower, ensuring they remain safe and don't end up over the edge as he did. So he's a friendly ghost.
Saves people from falling. Okay.
The tower also has a chamber of corpses. The tower walls hid a sealed crypt where 10 well-preserved, mummified bodies were discovered. Unnervingly, one of the bodies was a perfect match for the White Lady often seen haunting the premises. It was the mummified remains of a small, thin woman with dark hair, carefully wrapped in silk fabrics. The corpses are believed to have belonged to local Celtic saints from as far back as 1,000 years ago. So it was very eerie. That the stories of the White Lady preceded them finding these crypts. And then it kind of spooked some of them because one of them appeared to be dressed in all white. So,
Oh boy.
that would be if you knew the tales and then found those, it would probably give you shivers up your spine for sure.
Yeah. Like this is panning out like the legend, right?
Yeah, if you heard it from your grandparents or something, and there it was. So there is maybe a hint of truth to the story. Maybe there was some lady in white that had a traumatic end somehow and was buried there. But the grounds of St. Andrews today is largely just a cemetery. Like we were saying, there's a lot of ruins. There's not a lot left other than the tower, and that's about all they saved. But there's quite a cemetery there. And amongst the ruins, if it's not just the ghosts and the history of the area that interests you, but perhaps some golf history as well, with the rich history of golf in Scotland and in the St. Andrews area, you can also find the final resting place for recognizable names in golf history. Names like Auchterlawn, Kirkalody, and Hutchison are scattered amongst the stones and other pillars of St. Andrews, like Sir Hugh Lyon Playfair, who single-handedly transformed the city and was instrumental force in the Royal and Ancient Golf Club. In the shadow of the East Tower, it's difficult to miss the memorial for golf's first true professional, Alan Robertson. From his shop next to the old course, Robertson built a strong business crafting clubs and feathery balls for the gentlemen golfers. When the rubber gutty ball arrived, however, it cost the champion golfer of Scotland both his relationship with his apprentice Old Tom Morris and much of his business. You gotta change with the times or you're gonna get left behind. I guess that's what happens all too many times.
I gotta wonder what his balls were made out of, though.
They were called feathery, so
Feathery balls.
Feathery balls.
Replaced with gutty balls.
One of our golf folks will have to let us know because I'm not sure that. I know they're wrapped in rubber bands inside of them nowadays, and they got a core and then a shell. But he was back in the day where he was making golf clubs and golf balls by hand. So the true origins of the whole golf game and the equipment all from this area. And we get to our next one. Just a few graves to the right of Robertson's lies a small stone in honor of an infant child named David Anderson. Yet there is much more to this marker than meets the eye. Oops. Yeah, we're on the right one. The child's grandfather, Old Anderson, sold snacks and ginger beer, or if desired, something stronger, from a cart on the fourth hole of the old course. This was surely golf's first halfway house, and the fourth hole is named Ginger Beer in his honor. In addition, the child's father, Jamie Anderson, won the Claret Jug 3 times, but his life later took a downward spiral and he died in a local poorhouse, sadly. If you enjoy golf and are visiting St. Andrews area after a visit to the church and castle ruins, perhaps running into a ghost or two, there is the old course, a public golf course anyone is free to play, considered to be the oldest golf course anywhere, provided you schedule in advance. Or perhaps try the castle course down to the south. You can see where everything's positioned here. This is the St. Andrews church we're talking about. The castle is near the water. You've got a lot of other ruins. You've got hundreds of ghost stories in this area. And this is the old course up here. And then there's another golf course down this way. So if you're into golf, this is a great area to be in. So what do you think, Bree?
Yeah,
Tragedy makes ghosts?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I don't believe in ghosts. I'm just going to say it right out in the front. I think that generally this stuff is developed from folklore, and there are things that'll make you pause. Like, oh, they found a body that was wrapped up in a garment that looks suspiciously like the one reported from this ghost. But the problem with old ghost stories like this is sometimes they're going back hundreds of years. So there's a tradition of this ghost appearing. It reminds me of I covered recently this village in Alaska that had been abandoned, and one of the things was very similar to what this was. It was a wailing woman that would appear up on the cliffside in the moonlight, and people would see her, but it just no one was able to get to the bottom of it and say, hey, is this somebody pulling a prank? Because it could be very easy to do something like that, to pull a prank by going way up there out of the way. You'd have to have some guts to do it in Alaska, but I think in Scotland it might be a little bit easier. But my question about this the cathedral itself is, can you go actually up in that? Surely you can't go up in that tower anymore, right? That's where the friendly ghost is. I doubt
it
very
said
much
it guided
get up there.
visitors, so I don't know. At one point, I guess visitors could still go in the tower.
Yeah. It didn't look structurally sound to ascend to me.
Maybe you can just step in and step out without,
Yeah.
They might have the stairwell blocked off, because it does look a little rickety. It looked like some pieces were missing.
I wonder if it had wooden stairs or if it had stone stairs.
There are some videos that people were touring it, so I'd have to go back and look. But
oh, really? Okay, it didn't look like there was much left. Yeah,
there are people giving their little tourism home camera tours of it, so you can, if you want to check it out. Yeah, I saw at least a half a dozen of them. So
yeah. So that's something worth looking into if you're interested in learning more about the lore around this cathedral. I keep wanting to call it a castle because it really does look like a castle.
Well, there is a castle too. I didn't want to cover both of them in this one, maybe another time, but there is a castle too. So there's a castle, and it has its own. Yeah, it has its own stories. So yeah, I don't have this zoomed in very well, but if you Google map it like I did, you can zoom in closer and it'll show you where all the different places are. And yeah, it's with all the history of it, there's hundreds of ghost stories in the area. So if ghosts and golf are both your thing, this is definitely the place to be.
It is marked. The castle is marked on the map, though. So if you go to the cathedral, it's like you looks like you wouldn't be able to miss the castle if you were at touring the cathedral, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like right there by it. There's an aquarium too, so there's another thing to do. Scotland has a lot of cliffside ghosts and stuff like that. So this is similar to some other white lady ghosts that you hear about on the rocky shores and stuff, which does tie into other ladies that you see on the shores sometimes, right? And the woman in white tradition of ghost lore, where there's a mysterious
the
woman.
widow's peak,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
always hoping her man will come home, and he never does.
Mm-hmm. So they got the widow walk on some of these old seaside houses and stuff, where yeah, looking for your sailor's ship to come home.
Well, yeah, I know we don't particularly believe in ghosts, but do you think ghosts would play golf?
I don't see why they wouldn't be able to, depending on their ability to interact with the physical world. They could at least go through the motions of playing golf, like a
I
replay
know,
haunting.
I know in Ohio they spotted a Grassman on a golf course, so Bigfoot
Well,
may play golf. So
Squatch playing golf. Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds true to me. Like we should embrace that and make it a thing.
let the
Though,
Bigfoots have the golf courses. Would you be better with that, Bree?
yes, I would, because yeah, I don't want to throw a fit about it, but yeah, I'm like an anti golf course kind of person. So, but I can appreciate the tradition of the sport finding its origins here. But I'm like, I like leaving big expanses of land like that alone if we can. But yeah, if they could repurpose the golf courses into wildlife habitats for Sasquatch, I'd be totally into that. Let's do that.
And just so if you are into golf, they have packages where they will schedule you your tee times and everything, so you can play on the old course. And it is a free public course, but again, you better schedule in advance because they book people out in advance. So if you are interested, though, comes right up on the internet. All kind of travel companies will book you, and you can see the sights, play some golf if that's your thing, and enjoy yourself at the oldest golf course around. So that would be, if you're into golf, that would be definitely be a neat place to play, I suppose. Well, any other comments? I know a lot of the ghost stories seem to be, ladies that had broken hearts. Is it just
Yeah.
the broken heart story, and then it just grows?
Yeah, and then you have well, shipwrecks and stuff too. There's different lore along these stormy coasts where people make their living, going out and harvesting the sea, or some of them even would have sheep grazing on little islands out in the middle of the North Atlantic, because they've had great grazing lands on these little islands. But whatever the case is, this sea up here is like cold and unpredictable, and doesn't it's kind of like what they say about Lake Superior, doesn't give up its dead because the water's so cold, so everything sinks down into the benthic zone. But there's also things that wash up on shore in on the Scottish coast that gets into cryptozoology. So there's a few things about Scotland that I would mention that didn't quite make the list. But let's save those for the
Well,
end.
there's always another time. There's always another
Mm-hmm.
time. We like to pick a couple stories that that seem special, but there's always room for more. Like I say, just in this area, we could have done hundreds of stories. So,
Mm-hmm.
all right, well then we will move on to our next story.
Yep.
And let me say hi to everybody in the chat. Appreciate everybody showing up. Dank, Pragmatic, Carrie, Jasper, Aunt Jer. Good to see everybody.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming.
It's always great to see everybody. If I didn't see your name, I would look back, trying to catch everybody. YouTube. How you doing, YouTube? Mike, good to see you. Always a pleasure. And if I missed you, there's Stephanie. Hello, Stephanie. Great to see you. Welcome, everybody. All right, our next story. And if you're just joining us, you want to hang around because after this story, we're going to be having a little game to give away a t-shirt. So everybody stay tuned and hang in there, all right? So next story is the Selkies. And Bree was enlightening me a few things about the Selkies that I didn't even come across, and I appreciate it because I added it into my
Yeah.
notes. So we'll get into our next story. Is about the Selkies or the Selkie folk. Shape-shifting, seal-skinned, mermaid-like creatures. Some stories depict the Selkies as cursed by the Christians to forever be at sea because they could be dangerous and vengeful. Although most stories say the Selkies are innocent and kind creatures that help sailors and fishermen gone overboard to be rescued or help them get back to land. And they often enjoy having human partners for marriage.
Oh, did I freeze or did you? I think you're froze up, Dave. Maybe. Yeah, looking at the YouTube feed, I'm the one still talking. Dave just froze up. I'm gonna talk for a quick moment about the different seals that are located in this area of the world. There's the harp seal, sometimes called the Greenland seal. They're very large. They're black and white, and they would be uh, associated with some of the more northern islands. The other seal that might seem uncommon in the region and look peculiar to them would be the hooded seal or crested seal, and it has a patch on its head where it actually looks like a let me see what do we call it? The come on, yeah, nasal. It's a nasal cavity thing for making extra noise. Only the males have the nasal sac though, so but it poofs up and allows the animal to make some uh, crazy noises, and it's like a pink balloonish kind of thing. But so these were the seals that people were generally would associate with the Selkies. In the they're not uncommon, but they're larger than the general like harbor seals and such that you see that they would be used to, and they look a little bit different. So that might inspire the idea of them being something a little bit more. Now, it's very similar to like mermaids in some of the lore. And a lot of the idea is that the Selkie will steal or someone will steal the Selkie's skin, and then she's forced to come and marry, or she's forced to marry them and be the spouse or whatever. A lot of this folklore goes something along those lines, that a young man falls in love with the girl, and every day she has to leave and go back to the sea, and eventually he follows her and finds out where she's hiding her skin and steals her seal skin, which she uses to transform, and she will and she'll be like bound to him because she won't have anywhere else to go. Now, when she sorry, I wasn't prepared to do all this because Dave had a nice it all scripted out for us and stuff, but that's all right. Dave will be back any minute now, and we'll pick right back up. But yeah, sounds like the origin story of Aquaman, sort of. But yeah, the fisherman or sailor or whatever that's fallen in love with the seal woman. You know, they stay together for years. They're together for years. They have like multiple children, and then some point in the story, she finds her skin and immediately returns to the sea because that's where she belonged. That's where she was. That's despite whatever life she had built under duress, so it's really not a I mean, it's kind of supposed to be told as like a children's story in some points, but and they mix it up about the Selkie wife's never uh seen again by any of her family though, children, spouse, anybody, once she's free. Yeah. Anyway, that she would do that to her own children though, is sort of a I don't know, like a common thread that runs through folklore about shapeshifters, right? That there's stories about werewolves and stuff that eat their own children and things of those of that nature. But when it comes to the Selkie, they're not so predatory, right? They're more seductive, and what the reasons that they come to shore for vary. Different island groups have different lore wrapped around in this. There's, of course, the Scottish mainland legends off the coast, but different little island chains. The Orkney Islands have their own tales about the Selkie. The Shetland Islands have their own tales about the Selkie, and then obviously islands around the world that are influenced by Scottish culture take the tradition there with them, including Icelandic folks and or folk tales and uh, ones that were carried over to the Canada, to the Faroe Islands. Hans Christian Andersen wrote tales about them, and so they've really developed and spread around the world, but they've also been enveloped into other indigenous folklore, and they build some overlap, and it all mixes together in a beautiful harmony. Hope Dave is doing all right and is able to make it back in. Uh, I appreciate everybody for sticking around and listening to me ramble. Let's see here. Here we go. In another such tale recorded by Jan Gusmanson the Learned in 1641, and according to him, these seal folks were sea-dwelling elves called. This is that. I need to get to the Scottish one. Where was I at? Orkney. Did I talk about Orkney? I don't think I did. Yeah. So in the Orkney one, yeah, he locked the skin away in the chest. But the seal woman said that to have acquiesced to the concealment, saying that it was better to keep her Selkie days out of her mind. However, when she discovered her skin, she departed hastily, leaving all her clothes all scattered about. Yeah. So no matter what the situation is here, she is she is on top of wanting to go back to the ocean. And I kind of get it. Sometimes I wish I could throw on a seal skin and just go live in the sea and just be happy and swimming around and carefree. If only. All right, the Shetland version. And the version of the tale about the mermaids compelled to become wives to humans who steal her seal skin, localized in Unst, was published by Samuel Hibbett in 1822. She already had a husband of her own kind in her case. And some stories from Shetland have Selkies luring islanders into the sea at midsummer. The lovelorn humans never return to dry land. So that's kind of that's less Selkie and more Kelpie, but yeah, I guess that's part of the lore. Maybe they are more predatory than I was giving them credit for in the beginning. Now, in Shetland, the sea folks who were believed to revert to human shape and breathe air in the atmosphere in the submarine homeland, but with their sea dress, their seal skin, they have the ability to transform into seals and make transit from there to the reefs above the sea. However, each skin was unique and irreplaceable. The shape shifting nature of Selkies within the Shetland tradition is detailed in the Scottish ballad, The Great Selkie of Sul Skerry. I am a man, a poe de land. I am a Selkie I the sea. And when I'm far fra ever strand, my dwelling is Sul Skerry. Yeah. So that was about the best I could do on such short notice. In the tale of Gyoga's son, a group of seals resting in Viskeris were ambushed and skinned by Papa Store fishermen. But as these were actually seal folk, the spilling of the blood caused a surge in seawater, and one fisherman was left abandoned. The seal folk victims recovered in human-like form, but lamented the loss of their skin, without which they could not return to their submarine home. Olivinatianus was particularly distressed since he was now separated from his wife. However, his mother, Giogo, uh, struck a bargain with the abandoned seaman, offering to carry him back to a Papa store on the condition the skin would be returned. In a different telling of the same plot line, the stranded man is named Herman Perk, while rescuing Selkies named in our name is unidentified. Like we had an update from Dave just a few minutes ago, and saying his power's out. We'll have to restart later. I don't have any way to end the stream though. I don't have any ability to change anything. I'm kind of stuck in here pulling the cords until you come back. I don't know what to do. So let me know what you want me to do, and I will follow through. But yeah, this stuff obviously the lure followed across the Atlantic as people were were migrating from Scotland to other regions of the world, and the a lot of these people were removed for for sheep. They were removed to be replaced by sheep, so that's why they ended up being booted out of the regions that they were in and ended up all over the world. But there are a lot of families still to this day that claim a hereditary lineage to a Selkie bride. So yeah, we'll keep that in mind. Oh, we got fire trucks, etc., all over the place. All over. You can call it, Bree. I'm down for a bit. I don't know if I can though. I don't know how to end it. I'm not like in charge of the stream. I could just leave. But if I leave, it'll still leave the stream going, I think. I don't think it'll just drop it. And if I go off stream, I can't get back in because you're the host. So does Trees have access to this? Thank you, Trees. Oh. So yeah, I'll bounce out of here, but it'll probably leave the stream going. All right. Well, thank you for joining us this evening to talk about we talked about the St. Andrew's Cathedral and the multitude of hauntings and ghosts that they've reported there, and also explored some of the history, including golf history of the St. Andrews region. And then we did some Selkie lore. We did have some Loch Ness Monster stuff lined up, but we'll have to revisit that at a different point. Thank you so much for joining. Please remember to be kind, take care, and I will see you later.